Ciao e benvenuti a Coffee Break Italian.
Welcome to the Coffee Break Italian Show.
Io sono Maurizio.
E io sono Francesca, and in these weekly episodes, we are here to help you improve your Italian one cup at a time.
Yes, so if you like our show, please subscribe to the podcast feed wherever you're listening from on whichever platform you are using. Or if you're watching the video version of this podcast, please subscribe to our channel on YouTube.
Allora Maurizio,
Allora.
io sono molto emozionata, felice perché questo episodio mi piace un sacco.
Sì.
Di cosa parliamo?
Oggi parliamo di parole italiane in inglese.
Interessante,
Sì.
quindi come le usiamo, come
Exactly.
cambiamo il significato, a
Exactly.
volte la pronuncia. Sarà un episodio interessantissimo e
Interessantissimo.
divertente.
Esatto. Allora, iniziamo.
Cominciamo.
So as we were saying before, we're going to talk about Italian words in English. And we wanted to talk about this because we noticed that sometimes words that are used in English that are Italian do not really match with their counterpart in Italian, if that makes sense.
Sì. So especially when those who are studying Italian go to Italy to practice the language and experience Italy, and then they have this kind of culture shock because they realize that an Italian word which is used in a certain way outside Italy has a different meaning or a different pronunciation in Italy. So it comes as a little bit of a shock.
Yes. So, for example, we have many students who go to Italy. They go to a bar, like a cafe. We call it bar.
Sì,
in Italian, actually.
un bar, vanno al bar.
We're talking about a cafe where you get coffee. And if you want a latte, so like a milky coffee, a coffee with milk, and you go to your barista and you ask for un latte, you would get
a glass of milk.
A glass of milk.
Probably cold.
Yes, because latte in Italian means simply
plain milk.
Exactly.
Sì.
Well, latte as people intended in the English-speaking world, which is the milky coffee. In Italian, we would say maybe
un caffè latte, un latte macchiato.
Yeah,
sì.
Depending then on, there are like different percentages of like how much coffee, how much milk, I think. And we're not barista specialists.
No.
But yeah, so latte in English, in Italian, that would be caffè latte or latte macchiato.
Esatto, sì.
Or I'm also thinking of when here, for example, we want a shot of coffee, we ask for an espresso.
Ah, sì, è vero.
But in Italian, we would simply say...
We just say un caffè because that's the, let's say, the mainstream, the default form of coffee.
Yeah.
So if you just go to a cafe in Italy or a bar, as we said, and you say un caffè, per favore, it's intended that you mean an espresso.
Exactly.
And then there is no need to specify that.
Exactly. And if you want, for example, an American coffee, sometimes we ask for black coffee here in Scotland. In Italian, we would ask instead un caffè americano, maybe, for example.
Un caffè lungo.
Un caffè lungo. Depends on how much water you want in your coffee.
Sì.
Yeah. Because the word espresso itself means quick. So the idea back in the past was that you would go to the bar, just ask for a caffè, and they would get you an espresso, as we understand it in English, because it's quick. You can drink it at the bar, and then you go.
Sì.
So remember, ask for a caffè latte or latte macchiato, or simply ask for a caffè if you want an espresso.
And I think the world of food and eating is probably full of words that are at times misinterpreted. And I'm thinking of the eating al fresco that we often hear or see in signs.
In signs, in ads, often we say al fresco to mean to eat in a outdoor area, like a terrace, maybe.
Esatto.
Sometimes. But in Italian, al fresco doesn't mean that. We wouldn't say that. What does al fresco mean?
Al fresco simply means in a cool place where it's not too hot, so especially in summer. But we could also eat al fresco inside the house, especially if you have, for example, a room which is cooler than the others.
It's true. And al fresco itself, we might find it on the label of a food to make sure that you store it in a cool and dry place. So that would be
conservare al fresco.
Conservare al fresco. But if you want to eat outside, we would say
all'aperto.
Mangiare fuori, mangiare all'aperto.
And we were even talking about before, Maurizio and I, we were talking about putting together some ideas, and I came up with in un locale con il dehors.
So in Francesca's part of Italy, where you're from,
in
Piemonte, which is bordering France, apparently they say un dehors for an outdoor area, a terrace, where you can eat.
Sì, un bar con un dehors, un ristorante con un dehors. And I've just realized that Maurizio wouldn't really use it.
I didn't know that. So if you see like ristorante con dehors, you know that you can eat al fresco there. So you can eat, puoi mangiare al dehors, nel dehors?
Sì, nel dehors.
Okay, nel dehors, or simply in general, we would say mangiare all'aperto.
Esatto.
Okay?
Esatto.
So going back to food specifically, sometimes at the end of a meal, we get biscotti here in the English-speaking world. And normally when we ask for a biscotti, we would get what we call in Italian un cantuccio. Un cantuccino.
Sì.
So un cantuccio or un cantuccino is what English-speaking people call biscotti, also in the plural.
Esatto, sì.
But biscotti means...
Biscotti in Italian is just the generic word for biscuits or cookies in general, and they don't need to be fancy. They can be like the biscotti that we have for breakfast.
For breakfast,
for example, in Italy. So they don't refer to a specific type of biscuit, but they just label the category of biscuits and cookies.
And of course, the category is biscuits in the plural. So biscotti is a plural noun in Italian, but if you want one
biscotto,
you would ask for un biscotto. All right. So, and the biscotto specific to the what you say biscotti in English is cantuccio, which is usually like kind of hard with like almonds sometimes
very
or chocolate,
crunchy,
very crunchy, and you usually dunk it in some tea or coffee, for example.
Sì, or also vinsanto.
Also vinsanto. Look up vinsanto on the internet.
Okay.
Or, for example, another word that is used in the plural in English is panini.
Panini, sì.
But panini, sometimes we just say like, oh, I'll go and grab a panini from the cafe. But panini in Italian just mean sandwiches in general.
Sì, and it's also a plural word, as you said. So un panino, due panini.
Exactly. So I would say vado a comprare un panino, for example. Or io e Francesca mangiamo dei panini, for example.
So be careful. When you go to Italy and you want just one, then you
just
would
ask
say
for
un panino.
And of course, in the English-speaking world, a panino is often like a specific type of sandwich. Well, panini in Italian in general is the category of sandwiches.
In general.
Yeah, exactly.
So it can be different types of bread, different ways of preparing
them.
Okay, interessante.
And sometimes talking still about food and talking still about plurals and singular, we want to talk about the word lasagna.
One of my favorite dishes.
Take it away, Francesca. Why do we want to talk about lasagna?
Yes, because lasagna is actually a plural word. The idea is that all the layers, all the sheets make this dish a plural dash.
Exactly.
So in Italian, we would actually talk about le lasagne.
Le lasagne. So for example, mia nonna cucina le lasagne la domenica a pranzo, right? So my grandmother makes lasagna for Sunday lunch, for example.
We need to use it in the plural. And also make sure you pronounce the ñ sound correctly, lasagna.
And again, una lasagna in Italian is one sheet of pasta. So the dish is called lasagne. Okay?
Molto importante.
Exactly.
And talking of sounds, pronunciation, I've just mentioned lasagna because obviously there is this specific sound, ñ, which we need to get it right. And I'm thinking of another very Italian dish which contains the GN sound.
Right. So
and also the CH sound.
Right.
I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, so you're talking about gnocchi. So gnocchi, that's the right pronunciation, gnocchi. And gnocchi is used in the plural as well because one piece of this pasta is called uno gnocco.
So for those who are not familiar with gnocchi, gnocchi are the, let's say, potato dumplings that we eat in Italy with different types of sauces.
And they can be filled or not filled.
Yeah,
no.
So make sure ñ at the start and k at the end, gnocchi.
Gnocchi. Another word that has this k sound that sometimes it's pronounced ch because in English often the combination ch is pronounced as ch, like channel, chain, and stuff like that. Is the word bruschetta.
Let's repeat it one more time.
Bruschetta with a hard k. So it's not bruschetta, it's bruschetta. Okay?
See, it's really, really important.
And the bruschetta is a slice of bread, usually toasted with some
garlic, tomatoes,
aglio, pomodori.
Yeah, you can be creative,
you can be very
but not with the
creative.
pronunciation.
Yes, so it's bruschetta.
And also, thinking of bruschetta, le tagliatelle, another y sound. I understand it's tricky to pronounce, but once we are aware of the pronunciation, we can try and make an effort to get it right.
Tagliatelle.
So the type of pasta, they're not spaghetti, they're like, how can we
like
describe them?
flat
spaghetti, so strands of pasta, delicious.
Yep.
And we eat them with ragu, usually in Italy.
Right. So ragu is what in Italian we call this sauce made with minced meat and
tomato sauce.
Yes, and it's known in English as Bolognese. But it's called ragu. Often, if it comes from the town of Bologna, it's called ragu alla bolognese.
So Bolognese style ragu.
Exactly. And sometimes we get spaghetti al ragu.
Or better, tagliatelle.
Or tagliatelle. Ragu. So good. So don't order a spag bowl in Italy. No. Just ask for spaghetti al ragu or tagliatelle al ragu. So ragu is what we call Bolognese sauce.
Esatto.
Yeah.
Sì.
And sometimes I think something else that gets mistaken a lot with maybe like people going to Italy for a holiday and they go to a pizzeria, maybe they expect pizza with pepperoni.
Oh, sì.
Right? So,
I know it by experience because when I moved to Scotland, the first time I ordered a pizza, I wanted a pizza with the peppers.
Right.
A vegetarian pizza, and I ordered a pepperoni pizza. And I got something with meat on top, and I was so confused.
Yeah, so this is interesting. So pepperoni with one P, pepperoni are bell peppers.
Sì,
right?
sì.
Well, pepperoni, I'm just doubling the piece here to make sure you hear the difference, is the spicy sausage that we usually find on pizzas. But in Italian, we would rather ask for maybe like salame piccante. Salame piccante.
Sì.
So watch out. Don't make the same mistake that Francesca made. If you want pepperoni pizza, ask for una pizza con salame piccante. If you want green peppers, then go for a pizza con peperoni.
Sì, sì, molto importante, especially if you are vegetarian. Okay.
Well, I would say that we should also talk about English words that we misuse in Italian. Just touching on a couple of them, and also like some like neologisms that we created in Italian, thinking that they existed in English.
Sì, because in Italian we use words that apparently seem English and people think they are English and being used in the English-speaking world, but it turns out that they're only used in Italian and native speakers of English don't really understand them. But it's useful for you to know them if you go to Italy and you hear Italians using these words.
Yes, and one of the words that has been very popular in recently is the word
smart working.
Smart working.
Cosa significa,
allora,
Maurizio?
Smart working, let's use the Italian pronunciation, smart working, is basically working from home or working remotely. So in Italy, we started using this term, smart working, or lavorare in smart working, or simply in smart, to indicate working remotely from home, so not in the office. Now, I don't know how we came up with smart working, because when you work, you should always be smart and work smart. But this is what we say, smart working for working remotely.
Sì, sì, esatto. Another word that always makes me chuckle a little when I'm in Italy, and I hear my little cousins, for example, talking about il mister.
Il mister.
Il mister, when they tell me about their football training or their football games.
Yeah, and that's because mister or il mister in Italian identifies one specific man, which in this case is your coach.
Your football coach or coach in general.
Or coaches in general. I think we use it also for
volleyball
or basketball coach. So il mister is the coach. Or also we talk about camping. Tipo vado al camping.
Right? C'è un camping in questa zona.
Exactly. So what does that mean? That's a campsite.
Sì,
basically.
Sì,
so un camping or un camping even,
un camping
I heard,
anche, sì.
Is a campsite where you can spend your holidays. Can be in the mountains or
on the seaside. We have the Italian word campeggio, but it's very common, especially on signs, to see camping tre palme.
Yeah, camping
ad esempio.
quattro stagioni, for example.
Sì. And with words ending in ing, I think the idea is that if we take a word and we stick ing at the end, we just think it sounds very, very English.
Yeah, and very cool. For some reason. I don't know why.
So like le persone che amano correre fanno footing.
Fanno footing, exactly.
Or if you want to dress smartly for an event, like for a gala, or...
You don't talk about a tuxedo, but you talk about uno smoking.
Sì.
So it's very interesting how we make the same mistake in a sense, like moving from one language to another, the words change meaning or are misused or maybe mispronounced. And this happens in many languages. In Italian, it happens with English, with French words. We'll include other examples in the blog post that you will find clicking on the link in the description of this video. But I think that for now...
It's been fun.
Yeah, and, I hope you also had fun as well. I would say let's wrap things up.
Ok.
Allora, ed è tutto per oggi.
Va bene, I hope you have enjoyed this lesson and traveling from one language to the other.
And remember that you will find the examples mentioned in this lesson and more information written down in our blog post. So check out our blog post by clicking the link in the description of this video.
And if you would like more help with your Italian, just sign up for our regular free email lessons. Visit coffeebreaklanguages.com/Italian.
So look out for your next mini lesson in your inbox. Ci vediamo presto e come sempre non dimenticatevi.
Happy coffee breaking!
Ciao!
You have been listening to a Coffee Break Languages production for the Radiolingua Network. Copyright 2024 Radiolingua Limited. Recording copyright 2024 Radiolingua Limited. All rights reserved.